I totally believe that South Africa and the African countries should sue United States. In fact, there is a report that suggested that was about to happen. Now, Thomas Greenfield, as you can see on the screen, let's talk about this particular topic first. She gave an interview and she basically mentioned very clear, very much the way you want it, like it was given to you on a platter, that US is not going to be arresting Netanyahu. It was that easy for her to answer. So let's talk about that particular comment right now, and then I'll talk about the South African and African countries. Thomas Greenfield's remarks that they will not, United States will not arrest Netanyahu came days after Khan, we know Khan is the ICC prosecutor. He urged the ICC judges, that happened only a few days ago, to expedite their decision on his May request for arrest warrants against Netanyahu. In other words, this was a way of telling Karim Khan, and to the ICC judges by US that we don't give a F what you come up with, because we are not going to be abiding by any law that Netanyahu must be arrested. We're not going to abide by any laws. Khan said earlier this week that the arrest warrants are needed. So you see that there is a sense of urgency from his part and from his team to, quote, why the arrest warrant is needed, to, quote, prevent the continuing commission of the crimes alleged, quote unquote. What we understand from this is that because the arrest warrant is not being made and no decision is being made yet, it is enabling Netanyahu to continue with the genocide and killing more people. Just a few days ago, we have seen 40 people got killed. Yesterday, got 15 people killed, and schools are being bombed on a daily basis. So Khan is saying, Karim Khan, that if you guys, the judges, if you take your time to make this decision, there will be more harm by the Zionist regime to the people of Gaza. Khan said earlier this week that arrest warrants are needed to prevent the continuing commission of the crimes alleged, including the starvation of civilians as a method of warfare and extermination. So basically he's making it very clear that Israel is committing a genocide. So he is setting the definition very clear here through the judges of what genocide is and what Israel is doing. The Biden administration has reported Khan's investigation of the war crimes in the Palestinian territories and Israel since it began in 2021. So the Biden administration has opposed. Of course, we know they would do that. Arguing, this is their argument, that the ICC does not have jurisdiction there. Where? In Israel. Because Israel, like the US, is not a party to the Rome Statute, which created the ICC. Now, so the Rome Statute is something you must know what they are talking about, what US is talking about. So basically, US is saying, look, you want to arrest Netanyahu, ICC, you don't have any jurisdiction. You cannot apply this law on Netanyahu because you do not have any jurisdiction in there. Therefore, you cannot arrest him. Now, look at the hypocrisy. I'll actually mention to you the hypocrisy in a second. But this is really not the case. The Rome Statute that U.S. is bringing up as an excuse for not arresting Netanyahu is a lame excuse, because what he is doing, what Netanyahu or Netanyahu is doing, is a clear murder. For a murderer, you do not need to go to ICC or to ICJ or to bring up this kind of agreement under Rome Statute or whatever statute or whatever agreement or whatever it is, whatever defines who is a murderer. And you cannot say, well, this murderer can get away because he's not part of your jurisdiction. No. The murderer, the genocide enablers, must face justice. It doesn't have to be through ICC or Rome Statute. You see my point? They are open criminals who must be held accountable. But US is saying, look, ICC, you cannot do this to Netanyahu because he's not part of you. And US also, they distance themselves from becoming part of the Rome Statute. Okay. So Thomas Greenfield, she reiterated U.S. opposition to ICC's prosecutor's arrest warrant request on Thursday, even after a key ally, the United Kingdom, dropped the objection. So again, UK, many other countries, Ireland, they're saying we see no problem arresting Netanyahu, and we must do that. The announcement from UK was a shocker to me. They dropped the opposition of opposing of arresting Netanyahu. They dropped it, and now US is obviously not going to follow them. So remember what I just told you about the Rome Statute. Remember that. I'll mention to you in a second. So the US has been accused of hypocrisy for opposing the arrest warrant request for Israeli leaders while readily supporting the ICC's arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin. So in one hand, US and Thomas Greenfield, all of these people, they're saying we're not part of the Rome Statute, so we do not fall into this, and Netanyahu is not under your jurisdiction. At the same time, they're saying that, look, Putin, he is different. We must arrest Putin. Okay, we must arrest Putin. So the ICC's arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin over war crimes in Ukraine, even though neither Russia nor Ukraine is a state party to the Rome Statute. Not just Putin, Russia, but also Ukraine is not part of it. When it comes to arresting Netanyahu and taking action against Israel, what we see here is clear double standard. They don't want to apply the law on the Israeli leader, but they want to apply the law on Vladimir Putin. So how the law should be applied depends on United States. And this is why, they should not be lecturing people, and they should not be telling us, oh, they're a country, they're a government who believes in laws and in democracy and all of those things, because they don't. It all depends when they will decide to follow a law and decide not to follow a law. So it's all subjective. Yeah. So US's blatant hypocrisy. The US envoy also said Thursday, Thomas Greenfield, she said that she does not believe. Now, when I heard this, I was really shocked. She does not believe, quote unquote, the Palestinians as they exist right now have all the elements to give it statehood. A position that makes the U.S. an outlier in the international community. So when Biden administration, they talk about, Anthony Blinken goes, and Bill Clinton in the past, and Bush and all of these people, they go and talk to the people of the world and try to portray themselves, the Biden, the U.S. administration, as a very, very sincere and concerned party who wants a two-state solution. We have to understand they don't really believe the Palestinians have the tools, the ability, or all the elements ready to run a state. In other words, even if the war ends in Gaza, even if the whole world endorses or recognizes that Palestine is a state, U.S. will still say, no, yeah, the war is over, okay, Netanyahu, Israel, they made peace, but Palestine doesn't deserve to be a state because they don't have everything to run the state, to run the country. So this is just an excuse waiting in line for the future. If the state of Israel is gone, for example, let's say, we hope that happens because Zionism must go, they are committing genocide, then U.S. will still oppose Palestinian state if they maintain their current position on this issue. And this is why I find this to be very, very outrageous. And of course, we know how hypocritical U.S. is. I want you to actually take a listen at this one now, because of ICC, because of South Africa taking action against Biden. Now US is actually punishing South African or African countries, I should say, because recently this is what she said, that US Ambassador Thomas Greenfield said African countries should be given to non-veto seats. So African countries should not have the power to veto in the Security Council. That's what she is saying. Let's see.
We've been very, very clear that we do not support expansion of the veto. And we have the veto power as well, and none of the permanent members want to give up their veto power, including us. I'm being honest about that. We don't want to give up our veto power, and we do think if we expand that veto power across the board, it will make the council more dysfunctional.
Okay, so basically when she was asked, would you give veto power to the African countries, she said no. And we know why. Because right now, United States, they're terrified of African countries, especially South Africa, after what they have done. In the past, we have seen there are reports that South Africa said they are going to sue Biden administration or United States for its support of this genocide in Gaza. That's what they said. So you know why they're saying, or they're so opposed to any, to giving any veto power to the South African country. I think that is one of the reasons. That is not the only reason, but I think that is one of the reasons why U.S. doesn't want to give any veto power to any more state, especially from the African continent. Something obviously I think it was very much expected from them. But look, the hypocrisy and the lies of US is right in front of us, the US government. So if you're an American, you really need to hold your country, your leaders accountable and ask them questions that make sense. What they're doing right now doesn't make any sense. It is absolutely hypocritical. I have some comments here. Soraya, I think, Franny, thank you guys for your comment. Leave a comment if you have any more. I'll see you in the next video.